So this is the story of a woman who stole $500 and ended up inside a Hello Kitty doll. Yup, you heard that right. This isn't a cartoon, this isn't some TikTok urban legend. This is a real life horror Hong Kong edition. If you thought Hello Kitty was all rainbows and cuteness, well, not anymore. Now let's dive into the infamous Hello Kitty murder case, one of the darkest true crimes you'll ever hear about.
If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please support us by hitting the subscribe button. Like, share and share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks.
Now meet Fan Man Yi. Let's call her Fan. She grew up in a kind of environment that makes villains in Disney movies say, "Damn, that's rough." Abandoned by her parents, Fan was raised in an orphanage. At 15, she was kicked out because, rules are rules even if you have nowhere else to go. So what happens to a teenager with no home, no family, and no safety net in the middle of a mega city? The street happens. So she gets addicted to drugs, started working as a street-level prostitute, and just tried to survive one day at a time. Now fast forward to her 20s, Fan tries to turn her life around. She gets married to another addict, let's call him Red Flag in human form, and they have a baby together. So she sobers up, gets a job as a hostess in a nightclub, which in Hong Kong basically means you get to drink with shady men for cash, and she is doing her best to be a mom until she steals a wallet. Yup, that's what kicks off this entire nightmare. So one day, Fan meets a man named Shan Man Luk. We'll just call him Shan. But if this were a horror movie, it would be the guy you should absolutely never mess with. Why? Because Shan was a known member of the 14K Triad, a criminal organization that makes the mafia looks like the PTA. Shan was also a regular client at the club Fan worked at, and apparently during one of their hangouts, Fan stole his wallet. Not just any wallet. Apparently it had 4,000 Hong Kong dollars in it, and around that time that's approximately $500. Now that's not nothing, but it's also not you're about to be tortured for a month kind of money, But to Shan, that $500 was an insult. So what does he do? He pulls up like a boss and tells Fan, "You have to pay me back with interest." 10,000 extra. That's like stealing someone's iPhone and being told to also buy them a Tesla. So Fan returns the money actually, but she couldn't cough up the extra 10K in time. And that's when Shan and his boys said, "Cool, time to teach you a lesson." You understand? On March 17, 1999, Fan is chilling at her flat in Liu Estate, probably wondering how to keep her life together. And then, boom, she's kidnapped by Shan and two of his cronies. Liu Xingshou, aged 26, we'll call him Psycho Sidekick 1. Liu Wan Liu, age 21, aka Babyface Sociopath. And then a 14-year-old girl named Afang, the wild card of the group. Wait, back up. A 14-year-old girl is involved in this? Yup. And we'll come back to her later. Trust me, you'll want to hear that part. So they take Fan to an apartment in Tisha Shu, right in the heart of Hong Kong, in a building where normal people live. And for the next 30 days, they do things that even horror movies would hesitate to show. Now let's not sugarcoat this. Fan was beaten with metal bars, strung up like a punching bag, kicked in the face repeatedly, and burnt with hot wax and melted plastic. As for her wounds, they rubbed spices into them like they were marinating a steak. They made her laugh and say she liked it, or else the beating gets worse. So eventually the abuse got so bad she couldn't even walk anymore. They even used her as target practice for kicks. At one point, the 14-year-old Afang joined in, boiling Fang's feet just because she wanted to feel what torturing someone was like. She later said it made her feel absolutely nothing. Let that sink in. Now, somewhere around April 14th, Fan died. Well, there are two versions of what actually happened. The first version is that she died alone while they were out, like trash left to rot. Now, the second version is that she actually died from the abuse while they were there and they didn't care. Either way, Fan was gone. But it gets worse. Instead of calling the police or doing literally anything human, these guys dismembered her body. They boiled her head, scattered her organs, and stuffed her skull into a giant Hello Kitty mermaid plushie. Yes, the toy. Yes, for real. A cartoon mascot now held a human skull. The rest of her, well, they were thrown out like garbage, except for one tooth and some organs which were later found in a plastic bag. So you might be wondering how this whole story came out, right? So Afong, the 14-year-old, starts seeing ghosts. She tells the police that Fan is haunting her, appearing in her dreams, standing at the foot of her bed. At first, the police were like, okay kid, go touch grass. Until she tells them exactly where to find the body parts and exactly what's inside the Hello Kitty doll. So the police raided the apartment and yeah, it's all true. The toy has a skull. The rest of the apartment, blood stains, plastic bags, and a level of horror that made seasoned detectives throw up. Well, Shan and his two goons were later arrested. We don't have a mugshot of them, but here's how Shan looks and one of his goons. So they blamed each other. They later said Afang was involved. Well, Afang later said they were the real monsters, obviously. She later testifies in exchange for immunity. But here's the messed up part. Because the body was so mutilated, they couldn't prove the exact cause of death. So instead of getting charged with murder, they get convicted of manslaughter. Life in prison, right? Yes, but with the possibility of parole after 20 years. Which means these monsters could walk the street again. Now, the building where all this happened, it was later demolished years ago. And this case inspired 2 horror films and became a worldwide media sensation. The phrase Hello Kitty murder became infamous. And as for the rest of us, left wondering how a cartoon doll, a teenage girl, and a $500 wallet turned into one of the sickest true crime cases in history. So yeah, next time you see Hello Kitty, just remember there's a version of that doll out there that once had a human skull inside it. Well, sleep tight.
For more interesting and amazing stories like this, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, and thanks for watching. We love you.